Like, if you ask me on a date, I feel like you should be paying. If I asked you on a date, you should be paying. Like,
hi YouTube, it's Lexa
and Ash.
and today we're gonna talk about how to not be an awkward woman on your first date with a woman.
Yep.
Did I word that weird?
Yeah, that was pretty awkward.
That was really weird. Can you say it better, baby?
That was pretty awkward, but
I'm not from here.
how to not be awkward on your first woman date. I would say my first tip would be to have their number or on a dating app or something and already be flirting beforehand. I think setting the tone of the fact that you're actually interested in each other and like being flirty, not just friendly. Because I think sometimes when you're not used to talking to girls in that way, or you two get together, especially if both of you are new to dating girls, you'll just kind of, it's easier just to opt for like acting like friends when you're together. So if you've already kind of set the stage that you're actively flirting with each other, that does kind of help the dynamic by the time you get there.
And then adding on to that, that is very important because the girl can always just outthink herself and be like, oh, I don't know if she's really into me like that. Like, I'm not really sure. Even though you literally said, I want to take you out on a date. I think women just need a lot of reinforcement or reassurance.
Yeah.
Reassurance when it comes to that. And there's no better way to do it than flirting through text. And even then, they might not get it. And we'll get into touching on the first date and stuff like that. Not to get ahead of ourselves. Definitely be flirty before you actually meet in person. I don't know who asked who on the date, but keep saying that it's a date.
Yes.
That's very important to say those words. Don't assume they know it's a date. Tip number 2. So now you're at the date, right? Now you are there, wherever you guys went. I like to pull off the more masculine role, whatever you want to call it. I would compliment her, shower her in compliments, and if you even want to go as far as opening her door, pulling out her chair, things like that, that makes it clear without you having to say that it's a date. Just those actions where she feels like, ooh, wow, she's really trying to just like swoop me off my feet.
Also, like, controversial take in the queer community apparently, but I think if you ask somebody on a date, you should be the one paying. I know a lot of people are like, oh, 50-50, but if somebody like wants to go 50-50 with me, I don't think they're really that into me. It just seems like a friend thing to me. Like, if you ask me on a date, I feel like you should be paying. If I asked you on a date, you should be paying. Like, at the beginning stages. That's my personal thoughts on it.
I have a hard time saying who should pay because I think it depends on the situation. But if you find that you are more of the provider or see yourself as a provider role, then obviously you should be paying.
I just think one person should be paying. I think if, say you go on a date, say she asked you, but you want to be more of that person, that role in the relationship, and you're doing well financially and you don't mind being daddy and like paying, go by all means pay. I just mean, I don't love the whole splitting at 50-50, especially at the very beginning of seeing each other. I think that it sets a romantic precedent for one person to like take it all.
I in general don't like half-half because I think that if you're gonna do something, you do it all. You do it well done. You don't go kind of do it. No, you do it all. You either pay or you don't pay at all. And don't even bother asking to help out if you can't just pay the whole bill. That's just my own mindset on things.
I think especially on the first few dates, like when you're getting to know each other, like I think everyone has different opinions on this. I think it would be rude if somebody asked me on a date and I show up and they were expecting me to pay half of it. I'd be like, I thought you asked me on a date, you know? Like, that doesn't feel like a date to me. It feels like we're just friends going out to get food or whatever. So if you're not in a great financial situation, take them out to coffee. That was my go-to. I was like, I don't know how into this girl I am yet. Haven't even met her in person. I don't want to spend too much money on her yet, but I also do want to like take her out and be the one to pay for it. So I'd go out for coffee. And coffee's nice. This is another tip. If you're not sure if you're going to vibe with them yet or not, coffee is a good, okay, this is also controversial. A lot of people have told me they disagree with this, but I think coffee is a good first date because it can be short if you're not vibing. Like if you just get there and you're like, I'm not attracted to them, or we just don't mesh, it can only be like an hour if you want it to be, or you can sit and chat for a long time, or you can go do something afterwards, and it's a pretty like cheap option. If you really want to impress her, obviously something else, but like for me personally, I never even know if I really like someone usually until I've met them in person or talked to them more in depth. You could take her out to fine dining on her first date like she did with me, but
I do. I like fine dining.
Yeah, I do too. I think honestly, I know a lot of queer people are kind of anti like gender roles, but I do think the like chivalrous thing is still romantic on dates, even in a woman love woman or like queer dynamic. And I think that most women or like queer people do appreciate the effort of somebody being like sweet and cute like that, like pulling out their door, like opening the door for them, pulling out their chair, paying for them, that kind of thing.
So another tip while you're on the date, so it's not awkward, I would say, is being touchy with them.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's my biggest tip.
Yes. Yeah. Sitting next to them, I think it's very important as well. I like that. And by next to them, I mean like the chair next to them. We had this whole conversation about sitting in front of them or next to them. I'm more of a sit next to you person than sit across the table from you. But if you can't do that, then I would definitely touch their hand, play with their jewelry. Did we do this on Patreon? Did we touch this topic? Because it sounds so familiar.
About breaking the touch barrier?
Yeah.
I think we did that on a YouTube video. I don't remember. Okay, I think going out to eat or getting drinks is a good first date because you can sit and talk. But I also do think that it does get awkward on like, where do you sit? Do you sit across from them? Is it almost like weird to sit right next to them when you're on your first date? Because then I understand like when you first are getting to know somebody, like it's kind of awkward to be like this with them. But then it's also awkward because you can't break the touch barrier and really touch them as well.
You gotta lean across the table and touch them?
Yeah, so another way to kind of like create a date where it's easier to touch them would be going and doing something together. And then you have something kind of to talk about or like laugh about.
Like an arcade or something like that?
Like an arcade or going mini golfing or something like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot better than dinner.
Where you're doing something together and it kind of like, it's kind of like when you play games together with friends and it gives you guys something to talk about kind of vibe, you know? And then you're not just sitting next to each other awkwardly being like, how close do I get to you? You're like interacting with each other. It's easier to kind of just like lightly brush them, like kind of like joke with them, brush along them. It's easier to add that touch in.
And to add on to that, something that's very important to me that I've always done since I was a baby gay was always picking them up. Like, I'm always the one to pick you up. I don't expect them to drive there. That's just how I am. Like, I want to pick them up. I want to drop them off. And that's something that I think is very charming and important to do to set that dynamic.
That is charming. I think so long as you're not, like, it's not just, I don't know. I can see how sometimes off of dating apps or something, if you're worried about them being catfish in any way, you wouldn't want to give them your address. I was always hesitant about giving someone my address, to be honest.
They weren't hesitant with this.
I mean, it depends on the situation. With you, I wouldn't have been because you literally have like an online presence. And like, that's a real person. That's not a catfish, right?
No, I mean like in high school before or college.
Okay, well, like you've heard of somebody, you know someone's a real person from high school. I feel like dating apps freak me out a little bit more. Okay, but that's a really cute idea.
Yeah.
But also, I was gonna say, going off of the touch barrier thing too, a big mistake I made as baby gay was not breaking the touch barrier during the date. And so we'd just be chatting the whole time, but not touching each other at all. And then at the end of the day, I'd want to kiss her to like show her that I was like, that it was like that.
It was romantic.
Like, oh, we're not just friends. But it was awkward because it was going from like barely touching each other to just like
a straight kiss.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a tutorial about it, like physically somewhere, either on YouTube or Patreon. We can't remember right now.
Yep.
But yeah, those are really good tips to avoid it being awkward or not going how you want it to be. So as we mentioned, being verbal, not on the date, but before the date, to be clear. And always remember to call it a date as many times as you need to, right? To make sure that she gets it. Number 2, when you're actually in person at the date, you want to continue complimenting her. And you want to start touching her. That sounds weird, but just like in light little ways that aren't aggressive.
I also think with compliments, focus on complimenting her more than just her things, because it gives it more of a romantic vibe.
That's true.
So like, you could even compliment her thing, but you could be like, oh, your outfit looks so good, or I love that outfit, that shirt looks so good on you, or something. Like, make it like a on you. Yeah,
that's a good one. I used to do the other way around.
Me too. And then it just seems to like, hey girl vibes.
Yeah, hey girl,
love your outfit, so cute.
Don't be a hey girl.
Don't call her girl on the date.
Call her girl.
Yeah, girl. It gives very platonic.
Yeah.
I used to do that a lot.
Okay, I've never done that.
Don't do that. I always did that.
Oh my god, that's embarrassing, baby.
I know, baby. No, you don't even know how embarrassing my first like year and a half of dating them was.
I wish I was there to watch.
No.
But yeah, I think those are the basic 101s on having a date work. Really, at least setting your stand as far as where you're standing in the dynamic. Yeah. Now, whether she likes you or not, that's irrelevant.
Whether you like her or not is also.
Yeah, it's true.
I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, we really do hope that was helpful. I would have literally died to hear this when I was 16, 17.
We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Ciao.